What is so special about the Canadian education system?
You can get the PR $10,000 off in the first year's tuition fee.
What is the learning management system?
3-year work permit.
Is there any special news?
We can give the offer letter within 24 hours. Unfortunately, Aisha, no. And during Christmas and summer break, they can work unlimited.
A warm welcome to all of you for another session of Expert Tea Talk. And with us is a very special personality, and that is Raeez, the country manager of Nipissing University, Canada. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Aisha, and thank you, Expert Education team, for inviting me and having me today.
It's always a pleasure. Alright, so before we start off, why don't you just introduce yourself a bit?
Right, I'm Raeez I work for MSM Global. We handle universities in Asia and Asia subcontinent and Africa, and I'm the country manager for Nipissing University. So anyone who wants to go to Nipissing University from Sri Lanka has to go through MSM Global's and Nipissing University's portfolio.
Exactly. Alright, so before getting into the extreme details, why don't you just tell a bit about Nipissing University and the programs you all offer?
Right, okay. Nipissing University is based in Ontario Province, where the Toronto is also in Ontario Province. Nipissing University is in North Bay, Ontario, which is about 3.5 kilometers from Toronto. We are a highly undergraduate program university where we have more than 35 to 40 undergraduate programs, and then we have about 10 postgraduate programs as well.
All right. So now we've seen this, people are adapting to a new normal with the whole pandemic situation. So is there any special news Canada has for the international students?
Canada is allowing all the vaccinated students, and then with the Sri Lankan government accepting students to get vaccinated with Pfizer and AstraZeneca. We haven't faced any complication students traveling to Canada. September also we had a large number of students going to Canada. University has been very helpful in terms of getting the international students on board. So we have not faced any complication, but they are adapting really well with the pandemic. I mean, Canada is a very good country in terms of healthcare, and then all the students who go to Canada travel with a health insurance as well. So we haven't faced anything.
So how are the whole quarantine procedures like how are they ensuring the safety of the students?
So basically we are a small sized university. We have not more than 40 students per classroom, up to 40 to 50 students. So we make sure the classrooms and then the educational theatres are a bit big. We have kept and then we do random PCR checks on campus in order for us to find out if anyone is having the virus, and then we make sure that everyone is safe and sound.
Is there any period, how long should they have their quarantine?
To be very frank with you, as long as you have a negative PCR report from Sri Lanka prior 72 hours traveling, and then you adhere to the travel restrictions from the airline, wherever they tell us to take the PCR reports, and then we travel. As soon as we get there, you take another PCR, and then if it is negative, you can stay up to about 7 days, and then you can proceed.
That's amazing. Alright, so now we've seen, compared to all the other countries in the world, we have USA, UK, Australia. Canada is a very popular destination. Lots of people go to Canada, especially in Sri Lanka. We've seen lots of students going to Canada. So why do you think is Canada a very top choice?
So like you said, Sri Lankan students' popular destinations are Australia, UK, Canada, USA, and a bit of students go to Japan as well.
Yes.
So there are about 30,000 students who travel abroad every year from Sri Lanka. Back in the days, about 2 years ago, before the pandemic, about 40% of that, about 12,000 students used to go to Australia, and then about 10% each for USA, Canada, and the UK. Now, Canada has been a very good market for Sri Lankan students because of the PR option. Most of the students go to Canada, and then Canada has a very tough visa process, but once you get there, in order for you to get the PR, it's a very easy process. For example, let's say you do an undergraduate program for 4 years at Nipissing University, and you complete the program in 4 years. Right after you complete the program, they will give you a 3-year work permit in order for you to work full-time in Canada. Across those 3 years, it's up to 24 months to 36 months. It's called PGWP, Postgraduate Work Permit. Once you get that, out of those 24 months to 36 months you just have to work 12 months full-time in order for you to apply for the Canadian PR. So once you get there, you can get the PR in five years, or you can sometimes get the PR in 3 years as well. I have seen students in the past where they have gone to Canada and got the PR in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, unlike Australia or UK. For example, UK, you do the 3 years of education. They now started giving, after post-Brexit, they have started giving a 2-year work permit. If not for the post-study work permit in UK, before last 10 years, from 2010 to 2020, they weren't giving the post-study work permit. Now they started because of Brexit. After Brexit, all the Europeans left UK, and then they want the international students. We are to attract international students. They have started the postgraduate work permit. But Canada, right after the postgraduate work permit, you work only 1 year full-time and you get the PR. But in UK, after the undergraduate program, you get the PSW for 2 years. After completing the PSW, you have to find a sponsor who can sponsor you and get you to as a work permit holder in the UK, or else you'll have to come back. In Canada, it's different. That is the norm about Canada.
I guess that explains the reason why lots of people are trying to go to Canada all the time. All right, so when it comes to undergraduates, especially even postgraduates, they always try to work while they do their studies.
Sure.
So just like you said, they get different permits while they do their studies. So is part-time jobs available for the students easily, or is it quite hard for them to find these jobs?
I mean, very good question. I mean, most of the students, about 80% of the students who go abroad from Sri Lanka tend to work part-time and then support themselves for their living, at least for the accommodation, the food and the transportation, rather than getting funds from Sri Lanka, which is with the exchange rate, it's quite a thumping amount. But they tend to work, and then they enjoy working as well. Sometimes that adds up to the work permit. When they find full-time jobs after the studies, it helps as well. So they can work up to 20 hours during the term time, and during Christmas and summer break they can work unlimited, up to 40 to 50 hours. So while they study, they can work up to 20 hours. So you can find jobs in the universities, library, the gym, the IT centers. The university's international admission team at Nipissing University is very supportive. So international admission officer is Ms. Laura, and then regional coordinator is Punkti. So they have been very helpful for students. Last semester we had about quite a number of students going to Canada for Nipissing University, and for January we have a big number as well. People are going to Canada.
So that means you can easily find jobs on campus and outside campus as well, is it?
Yes, so because Nipissing is even though it's in Ontario, it's about 3.5 hours away from Toronto. Toronto is a very polluted city with a lot of international students tend to go to Ontario. So this is in Nipissing University is in North Bay, about 3.5 hours drive, about 360 kilometers from Toronto. It's a very university city. You can easily find jobs. I mean, I haven't come across anyone who haven't found part-time jobs in the last semester.
Yes, so now when it comes to Sri Lanka, it's a very we don't really experience all these seasons, and we have basically just a rainy season and that's it. So do you think that a student from Sri Lanka going to Canada, would they find the weather a challenge, because it is a very cold country?
People say Canada is a cold country just because it's a cold country. When its temperature is 2 or 3 degrees, we don't just walk around on the road. Yeah. So there are clothes, winter clothes, and everything. And also, it's a very organized country. For an example, let's say you get out of the house and then you have a 2-minute walk towards the train station or the bus station. A train station and bus stations are temperature controlled, where you don't feel how, even it doesn't matter how cold it is outside, it's temperature controlled. And then you get into the bus or the train, and then they drop you at the university or the workplace, and then you have another walk for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then you get into a building. It's not very challenging. Whoever goes to Canada know Canada is it's compared to Sri Lanka, it's a cold country.
Yes.
It's not that cold. It's not cold as other places in the world. It's cold. You can bear the coldness. And yeah.
Yes. So just like that, now think I'm going to go to Canada. What states would you recommend for me to go and visit and have all the fun when it goes?
Sri Lankan students tend to go to British Columbia because it's the weather is similar to in summer. Even in winter, it doesn't go below 5 Celsius. And then in Ontario, Nipissing is also a very good place for international students. And then it's a university city, a huge university and a city. People can make sure that they get what they want.
Yes, now just like you said earlier that lots of people go to Canada, what is so special about the Canadian education system compared to the other countries?
So Canadian education system is very practical education system comparing to Asian education system, where we follow all the theories. We are bookworms. We go through the theories and stuff. In Canada, it's very practical. Yes. And then it's a very user-friendly education system. They adapt to the change in normal world very fast and make sure that act accordingly. So in order for us to get something to, in terms of technology wise, also Canada is in the front. And Canada is a very the human friendly country. And then you have bilingual people, and then a lot of international students studying there. It helps as an international student to live and then work and then study in Canada.
Yes, exactly. So when a student, especially if we take a child who's doing their A-levels, they try as hard as possible to get the best results to get scholarships.
Right.
So are scholarships available for bachelor's and master's degrees in Canada and in the university you're representing?
Yes, Nipissing University has scholarships where you can get up to $10,000 off in the first year's tuition fee, which is Chancellor Scholarship, where you have to get more than 90% in order for you to eligible. You can apply. And then there are 3,000 scholarship slots also available. Our fee is about 19,000 Canadian dollars plus 1,400 for insurance. $19,000 is a very affordable fee, providing that you are studying at Nipissing, a world-renowned and then world-class university with a lot of facilities in-house. I would say that there are about 10,000 scholarships available, $10,000 off, and then about portions of $3,000 offs as well. So $19,000 is the annual tuition fee. If you get $10,000 waived off, you just pay $9,000 in the first year's tuition fee.
So in order to obtain this scholarship, does it only require educational qualifications, or you require other?
Yes, there are other scholarships for extracurricular activities and then sports as well, up to $500 to $3,000 if you have represented Sri Lanka or schools or high schools in any sports or debating, interact, community service projects. You can apply for scholarships with an SOP explaining why you deserve this scholarship, and then we are more than happy to process. And then the best thing about Nipissing University is when you have your grades perfectly, we can give the offer letter within 24 hours to 48 hours.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, so that has been one key selling point for us. I mean, the student has the grade.
Yes.
We'll go through the grades, and then if the student has sufficient grades, we issue the offer letter, rather than unlike other universities where they drag up to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 weeks. We give the offer letter in 24 hours to 48 hours, providing the documents are perfect. Yeah.
I guess it definitely sounds very convenient for everyone. So how many credits does a student need to have when they graduate in Nipissing University?
Right, okay. Canadian undergraduate degrees are four-year degrees. So you need 120 credits in order for you to graduate. So that's 30 into 4. 30, 30, 30 and 30. So each year you have to do 30 credits. So you have 2 semesters every year. You are supposed to do 4 confirmed subjects and 1 elective every semester. You get to choose 1 subject. So 15 credits into 2 is 1 year is 30,
yes.
and then 30 into 4 is 120. That's how it works throughout the program.
Yes. So what is the learning management system in Nipissing University like?
Right. So we have learning management system. A very good question. So we have paper-based exams, assignments. And also, so some subjects we have 50% assignments and 50% final exams. Some are 75% assignments and 25% final exams. Some are 100% assignments. Some are 100% final exams. So before each and every year, before you select subjects, the International Admissions Office would want you to sign a document and then send it to them with the subjects you choose, how the exams are going to be, and everything.
So does it vary according to what they learn?
That's right. Yeah, it depends on what subjects they do.
Yes, okay. So moving on to one of the very special questions, I'm pretty sure most of our viewers will want to know this.
Yeah.
When it comes to traveling abroad, apart from their studies and all those, they look into where are they going to live, the accommodation. So does the campus do they provide accommodation on campus?
Yes, 95% of our international students live on campus, because it's a huge university accommodation dorm where they can start applying when they get the offer letter, and then they make the initial deposit. They can request to stay on campus. We have about 3-4 accommodations across Nipissing University where they can choose from, and then they have events in the night. I mean, it's a beautiful and very safe place for international students in terms of accommodation. Yes, we do provide international accommodation for international students.
So now we've seen Sri Lankan students. According to the Sri Lankan culture, most of the students are very attached to their families, and they are all together. So would a student, especially someone who is right after their A-levels, do you think will it be manageable for such a student traveling abroad and facing all these processes and settling down?
So for a Sri Lankan student who is attached to the family who goes abroad, the university is very welcoming. I mean, there is an international support center and international admission officers to look after them, and then you have international students from everywhere from the world come. I mean, even though a lot of Canadian students study at Nipissing University, they are not specifically from North Bay or Ontario. They come from British Columbia or Quebec or Halifax. So they are also new to the place. I mean, you stay with newbies, so you don't that doesn't feel it doesn't make a huge difference for them. And then we have international students. They have a big 7 to 8 days freshers week. We get to hang around with the kids, and then you get to learn about other cultures, and then they'll be fine. I mean, if there is anything to be done, international admission office team and the counseling department is always there.
That's great. All right, so now let's say someone is wanting to apply for this university or to Canada in general right after their O-levels. Are they eligible enough to apply?
Unfortunately, Aisha, no, because Canadian education system and the immigration policy is designed in a way it caters the students who are right after A-levels. So they require A-levels. O-level students can't apply, to be very honest with you, unless they do 2 years or 3 years of undergraduate education in Sri Lanka. So right after A-level students, right after O-levels, they are supposed to do 1 or 2 years of education, and then that can be equivalent to A-levels, and then they can go to the university as a fresh B, or else they should have A-levels.
All right, so moving on to our final question. So what are the benefits the Canadian government gives to all the international students?
Right. Okay. So the benefits could be, the students right after the education, as I told you, they can apply for postgraduate work permits. After the postgraduate work permits, they can apply for the PR. As a short time of 5 years, because you are a Canadian educational, the express entry gives you for undergraduate programs, they gives you 30 points in order for you to apply for the PR. So when you get 30 points through for studying in Canada, for working in Canada, so the PR becomes very easy, and it's straight off, no question as the PR is given unless you have criminal record. So it's very easy.
All right, so before we wrap up our session, do you have any sort of advice for our viewers?
Yes, sure. So Canada has been and is a very friendly country and a very welcoming country for international students, and Nipissing University is a very welcoming university as well. I would recommend you to go through our website for nipissing.ca for any information you need, and then Expert Education, you can contact them. They are a registered partner with us to send students directly to Nipissing University, and then you can apply and get scholarships as well. And then if you are looking to migrate from Sri Lanka and then become a Canadian PR holder, Nipissing University has to be one of the top places to go and study.
Definitely. So thank you, Raeez, for joining with us today.
Thank you so much, Aisha and the Expert Education team, and everybody. Looking forward to get students for and inquiries for Nipissing Universities.
Amazing. And thank you all of you for joining with us as well. I hope you all got all your doubts cleared. And if you still have more questions, don't you worry, because all you have to do is contact Expert Education. So with that, see you next time.
Nipissing University, the official agent for Sri Lanka. Expert Education and Visa Services, your trusted education partner.